Hello, everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Ksenia, and you are watching Crowdholding channel. So let's get started with our first interview. Today we have a guest from a Carry Protocol project, a CEO, Grant Son. Welcome, Grant, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and happy to share, our experience and share my project with the community. Yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, cool, awesome. So let's get some first intro maybe. And the first question would be, please give me an elevator pitch about your project.
Yeah, so Carry is about empowering consumers with their own data. Um, I think that the blockchain is going to unlock a lot of opportunities, and one of them is easily monetizing your own assets. And we believe that your offline transaction information, where you go, what you buy, how often you go to these different places offline, is very valuable. And we want to see a world where advertisers can directly reach and reward consumers for sharing that data. The Carry protocol is about building the right tools to enable consumers to be able to do that. And one interesting thing about us is that we're based in Korea, and we're really happy to be here because I believe that blockchain has to start from somewhere. And I think that a real use case in South Korea is very likely because people are already very much talking about blockchain and cryptocurrencies in Korea. And we also have a lot of existing users, which I can get into later.
Cool. Well, yeah, I guess the main thing that is going already mainstream, and this is what we actually all wanted to do. Cool. Okay, so that's good. I mean, I already know with your project because you're listed on our platform as well. And I love the idea about data sharing and to be rewarded with this because right now everyone owns data and we're not getting anything from it.
That's right.
Cool. So what would you say your 3 unique selling points?
I honestly think the team, I'm very biased because I'm talking about myself, but our team is really good. I think one thing that differentiates us is not necessarily our technical depth, but our industry knowledge. So Richard and I have successfully created another business in offline retail that we've grown from nothing to 16 million users.
Wow.
It's a loyalty platform in South Korea. It's one of the largest, and we have 10,000 merchants. And so we're used to creating products for exactly this market, like offline merchants, offline consumers. And so that's one strength that we have. We don't need to go through the same mistakes as you.
That's good.
Number 2 is our location in South Korea. I think that you can walk into a cafe and the table next to you is talking about cryptocurrency. It's kind of a household name in Korea. And I believe that it's Korea's historically been very receptive to new technology. And I think that Korea is a great starting point to start this, to do this. And I think the third thing is, if you look at our investors and our advisors, we have some of the best people behind us. We're very lucky to have people that can help Carry become a reality. For example, we have some of the greatest funds in each of the different countries, which will help us go beyond Korea into other geographies. We have a few that we haven't announced yet, but we will be announcing them very soon. And I think that those advisors and investors are awesome.
That's great. Well, actually, network matters a lot, and definitely your investors, your crowd, your community, they will bring you basically on the different level. And when you have a strong community and strong team and everything, and especially you're talking about the location, I guess you will succeed for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So the next question will be regarding your token model, and basically why do you think there will be a demand in your token economy?
Sure. Yeah. So, everyone says utility, 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 right? It's not a utility token unless you have a real solid utility for it. And the way we designed it is so first of all, imagine people begin uploading their data where they go, what they buy, in an anonymized way onto the public blockchain. Uh, Even if 1 million people do this, this is a database that you cannot find anywhere else. So it's a very valuable database, and in order to access it, you have to first of all stake a certain amount of carry tokens. So if you're an advertiser that wants to target people who recently bought beer in like a certain area, a certain neighborhood, or people who regularly drink coffee in a certain area, or people who recently bought basketball shoes, all of these targeting possibilities, to access it, you must first stake a certain amount of carry tokens to even participate as an advertiser in this ecosystem.
And then also as a retailer, right? As a retailer, yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes so when I say advertiser, I also can mean retailer. So if you're Nike, you can also participate by becoming an advertiser. But also imagine you don't have an offline shop. Maybe you're an online shop, but you want to target people based on their offline purchasing and behavior. You can do that as well as an advertiser.
Oh, cool.
The key thing is to access this super rich, super valuable database, you have to first stake carry tokens. Because when you stake carry tokens, you can create what's called a branded token, which is kind of like the offer. And you send that to the user and say, hey, come to my shop, or have a discount, or those types of kind of things are the branded tokens that you have to create. You have to stake the carry tokens first to create. Secondly, you can't just target people without compensating them, or else that's just like the old world, that we're used to.
Rewards. You need to reward your people.
Exactly. We get all like advertisement all the time, right? But we don't get any of the actual advertising revenue. And so as an advertiser, you have to first create the branded tokens, but you have to also send the carry token as well to the user. And so the carry users or consumers get both the awesome reward, which is like targeted, but they also get the carry token as a reward. And so you need carry tokens in order to be able to participate in this economy.
And have you already closed any partnership with retailers, or are you going to be using your old network, your old partners?
Yeah, so one of the greatest strengths is that we have our own starting point. Like Spoka, my other company that Richard and I started, we've spent 6-7 years building up this network, and it took us a lot to do this.
Wow, yeah, I can imagine. It's not it's not an easy way.
Yeah, like imagine, so there are lots of McDonald's in the world, right? There's 30,000 McDonald's in the world, but we already have 10,000 shops.
But are they like worldwide, or are they more located, like everyone located in Asia?
30,000 McDonald's in worldwide, right? But then imagine 10,000 of those all in one city. Like, so we're primarily in Seoul and Busan in one country. And so we have many, many shops already, and that's the starting point. But carry itself isn't going to end at Spoka. It's a separate entity, and we want to recruit more and more other shops as well. And we do have some partnerships that with some local Korean companies that have like other network of shops as well that we've added.
Okay, cool. So basically your next targeting countries, can you name 3 of them?
Yeah, so we want to stick with what we know. So Korea first, but we want to spread into Asia, which I think has a lot of overlap between countries. So, I mean, one example is I love Taiwan. I think it's like great because there's so many merchants, and also Taiwanese people are very open to trying new technology, especially digital money. Second is Southeast Asia, countries like Singapore, and like we're even looking at Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. I know I named a couple more countries, but
no, it's fine. So basically, it's still the main focus are still in Asia. Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's great, and hopefully, guys, you will move pretty fast. You will scale it globally, also at some point. And I know that you closed your ICO 3 weeks ago, raising 47,000 ethers, which is congratulations. This is, I know, like we've been doing ICO ourselves, and I know how hard it is. And but I would like you to share your knowledge and experience with our community, and maybe tell us maybe the 3 moves that you've made during the ICO, and it was like one of the main moves that made you succeed.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, we just finished our ICO, 3 weeks ago, and so we haven't really thought too much about all the moves that we did, but maybe I can share a few now. We actually, before we started pitching and reaching investors, we spent about 4 good months on our white paper, and we went through maybe, honestly, like a dozen drafts before we kind of arrived at the right model. And I think a lot of people who we've met said that they felt a lot of kind of thoughtfulness and care
Mm-hmm.
into our actual white paper and token model. And so I think that was like, because we're not here to do an ICO, we're here to create a project that like eventually becomes a reality. And so we spent a lot of time on the white paper. I think that we could have started on version 4 or version 5, but we just kept getting more opinions and kept testing the ideas
Yeah,
and just
understand.
kept doing it until we really thought we got like to a 90% level. That's number one. Number two is I think we met the right investors in the very beginning. Uh, we I think that you can meet many, many different investors, but I think you should spend your energy on the ones that I think have the most um, influence, I think, in this industry.
And also have
We're
like a really wider space of community like, and network.
exactly network as well. And so we were lucky to meet Hashed, which is, I think, the number one fund in South Korea. They're all super, super smart, like great guys and gals. And uh, because we got them, they were able to introduce us to a lot of other high quality, I guess all the high quality funds kind of hang out with each other
Mm-hmm.
and network with each other. And so getting Hash was very important for us. Yeah.
And yet again, like all like you're saying that the investors you got and all those funds, they also were mostly from South Korea or uh,
No.
they
So
were like
we
more.
started with Hashed, but they had a global network, and so we got to meet the top funds in like Singapore, Hong Kong, even Europe, Silicon Valley. Um, we have so many different regions represented, and I think we were able to get some of the best and strongest investors from each region because our starting investor was so helpful and strong reputation. Um,
Cool.
uh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm.
Then, yeah, one more point. So you say you already named that white paper.
Mhm.
One of those key point and investors as a fund.
Yeah.
And the third one?
Third one, I think, is community. So instead of just kind of focusing on the number of like Telegram users, like that's kind of a very basic one, we wanted to get how many pieces of content about Carry Protocol can we kind of user generate, like
Yeah.
source from outside.
Build
I
the
think
PR first.
exactly. I think there's a limit to how much we can say about our project, but it's better to have other non-Carry people talk about our project and give us a fair judgment about it. And so we did like a content campaign where we rewarded people for creating YouTube content or creating written content about us. And I think if you Google Carry now, it's not just our Medium page or our website. It's like all sorts of user-generated like content. And I think that helped us kind of get known to more people. And so I highly suggest if you think that your project is interesting and good, why not open yourself up to people writing about it and,
Oh,
offering their opinion about it.
well, definitely. I think the crowd is one of the key main point in your community because like you can have a crowd like not only communities the crowd but also you can have communities like literally investors, but the crowd is like they're moving really like this spreading information all around the internet and they're inviting their friends and their people, and like this is actually what we also do in crowd holding. We're
Mhm.
connecting crowd and businesses, so and this is
Yeah.
the best way for the PR and the buzz marketing. Okay, cool. Thanks. This is useful. And what maybe like some do and don'ts? Maybe you can say one do that you have to do for sure during the ICO, and the don't that like you already done something, but you would not recommend it.
So just general advice is seek advice from, you know, there's a limit to what so it's all about making the right decisions, increasing the likelihood of making the best decisions. And you can't do it just by yourself. You have to consistently reach out to and leverage outside advice. For example, I think for our our pre-sale was so successful. Like we didn't even imagine like so many people just trying to get into our pre-sale. And so we sold out our pre-sale in like 90 seconds.
Wow, great.
In a bear market. It was still bear like back then.
Yeah.
But so in the public sale, we were like so confident. We were so like, we underestimated how rough the market was. And so we created our smart contract, assuming that we'll also fill up in just 90 seconds. But it didn't. It took a long time. And the reason why was because our smart contract was designed to only receive in 10 ETH
Okay.
like size, which is too small, I think. Um, if your project isn't, you know, in demand with a bear market. But if we had just showed we got a smart contract audit, there was no issues. But if we showed like another project founder kind of our structure, he would have said, or she would have said, that's like, you should make it so that it increases, you know, your cap increases like over
Okay, I
time.
see.
It doesn't fill. Those types of kind of like really simple advice, just a 5-minute, 15-minute conversation. So don't assume you have the right answer. Like go out and like seek out advice from founders or other projects that have like done it before. I think that we didn't do enough of that, and we could have saved ourselves a lot of like energy and time. I think conferences are another interesting kind of thing. I think that if you can leverage the conferences really well, you can get a lot out of it. But if you go there, just show up without a plan, you're spending a lot of money and time and energy without really getting a lot out of the conferences. I think one like misconception is that like the conference itself is like where it's all at. I think it's actually the events afterwards, like choosing the right events afterwards and kind of finding like one-on-one time with like people you meet there, like meals, like dinner time, coffee. That's where like the real relationships happen and real like networking happens.
True
And I
that.
think we learned that too late. I think we're just kind of going to every single seminar, but realizing, oh, like kind of the seminars there's a limit to how much you can learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot just spend the whole day on the seminars and listen to each
You're
speaker.
tired, you go home and
Yeah,
sleep.
for me right
Yeah.
now at the moment, like for me, taking like literally paying 30K, 20K, 10, even 10K, thousand like dollars for the booth and just standing there like with 5 people doesn't make really sense, because the investor, like there's no there's no guarantee that the right investor would potentially be interesting to invest. He'll just stop by your booth and have a conversation with you. So for me, like just be all around those uh, dining areas, networking parties, and so on and so on. Like this is the best, because this is like where you're finding the most people. So yeah, I agree with you on this.
And the final kind of thing is, I think Carrie could do a better job is communicating with the community. So having more and more content. I think there are certain projects. I'm just going to name a few that I really like Origin Protocol, Simple Token. They spend a lot of energy and time creating like blog posts, videos, like showing them what they're doing, right? I think Carrie, we're not sitting around, we're like working very hard, but I think it's also important to show people what we're working on and kind of, but you can't just start like, suddenly. That type of like branding and like connection is a culmination of like many different small gestures, like small kind of like content, pieces of content. And I think you need to get started early to finally create an identity. And I think that Carrie could have done it, but we were so focused on just like the ICO stuff and like building and stuff like that.
Come on,
We didn't
that's
think
all fine. That's all fine. You still have time right now, right? I mean, like now
over
you're already
time.
more easygoing and like you already have
Yeah,
time to communicate with the community, get closer, ask them for feedback, ask them for some
yeah,
ideas. So like, like I believe that the life after the ICO is just starting. So
yeah.
it's all like you will have it. Cool, thank you. And yeah, a few more questions. Maybe if you would do another ICO, one thing that you would definitely, I mean, you already named a few of them, but something that like you know that you haven't done it before, but you would do that like next time.
Uh, yeah. So I personally think that like security tokens
Yeah.
are going to be pretty big in the future. Um, so Carry is a utility token, so it's right that we did a normal kind of ICO, but I think there's so many benefits to decentralized investment. I think traditionally, why not extend this to normal investment into a company? Like the ease of sending globally, like your ether and receiving instead of utility tokens. What if you can receive ownership of a
Yeah,
company?
equity,
Instead of a
yeah, shares. Yeah.
equity? And it's like maybe also even more clear than utility investment because equity is clear. It's like, if the company becomes profitable and exits and you receive a
Dividends.
certain in dividends, it's more clear. And I think, so I'm keeping an eye on like kind of the developments on the equity side because I also think that traditional equity investment will be disrupted by the awesome parts of an ICO. And I think that security tokens are something that I'm very interested in looking at in the future.
Well, there's already like some information regarding ICO combining with IPO. So I believe sooner or later, even this year, we'll see maybe like first kind of this IPCO. Because I know a few companies already doing this and planning to have about like 10 projects for this year, even for this year. So yeah, like I totally agree. The market is moving the right direction, and we'll see what's gonna happen next. But security sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Um,
Well, thank you so much. That was really useful. And maybe you have anything else to say to the community, maybe to your community or our community. Something like, guys, I know right now the market is not doing really well, but maybe some
yeah,
positive.
no, yeah, I know. So, I mean, this is to like my community, like I guess, because I want to repost this to our community.
Sure.
We have a lot of things that we haven't announced yet, but please be patient. Um, you won't be disappointed. And also, I think it's really honestly, we raised an ETH and, ETH prices are, very, very up and down. But I think real projects with real substance, it's a long run thing. And so we just ask for your patience and we appreciate your support. And yeah, let's just do something, let's make an impact.
Yeah, it's making impact. This is really the right sentence. Thank you so much, Grant. It was really nice chatting with you, and hopefully we'll be chatting maybe anytime soon again, like, when we already have some results. Post some tasks to your crowd on our platform, Crowdholding. They're waiting and you still have some coins there. Thank you so much for your time, and yeah, it was great speaking to you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for having me. And yeah, bye, crowd holding people. Yes.
And bye, Carrie people. We'll see you soon.